just getting myself together. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Yeah, so I just decided to come live, just for a few, just to talk and bounce some ideas off people and talk about how the market is doing and all of that good stuff. So, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? How y'all feeling about this week of the markets? How you feeling about Quant? How you feeling about Hbar? How you feeling about Chronos, Crypto.com? How you feeling about VeChain? This week was red a lot this week. We had a couple good days of green, a nice little bounce back, especially today, Sunday. It's looking pretty good, but it was kind of a turbulent-ish week as far as the markets are concerned. How y'all feeling about that? Did anybody get scared and get shooken out, or did everybody stay strong with diamond hands? You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be convicted in the projects that you hold. You have to have faith and do your research and do the things you need to do to feel secure and solidified in the projects that you're holding, because these projects they're changing the world. You have these projects working with major players, like your Quant, like Hbar. Hbar is knocking out, like Hbar has announcements every day. It's insane what what Hbar is doing. Your VeChains, your Chronoses, Chronos is another thing. Like, people sleep on Crypto.com, and I really don't understand why. Because Crypto.com have a ton of things going on, like all over the world, which is also kind of like why nobody is paying attention to this thing that's getting ready to be humongous, because of the attention that they're putting to the small details of advertisement. And they're not advertising to your crypto market like most crypto projects do. All their advertisement is going mainstream to people that have no idea about crypto whatsoever. I think Crypto.com was so smart by buying that domain name and then creating their company name behind it, which was insane. Because think about it, when you have your early onboarders into crypto, think about this. What are they gonna search? They're gonna Google crypto or Crypto.com. They'll Google these things, and what's gonna be one of those first things that pop up? Crypto.com. Now couple that with the brand that it is building. Think about how safe and secure people will feel about Crypto.com when they have the former Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena, for the next, maybe, like, at this point, 18 years, which is crazy because the initial contract was for 20 years. $700 million, 20-year contract. AEG Group didn't just say, hey, I'm going to partner with this random company for no reason. No, because they see the future. They know that it's digital. So therefore, they're going to start coupling themselves with entities that are in that market, like Crypto.com. Listen, y'all, Crypto.com is going to become what Bank of America is. You know how you think of Bank of America? You think, oh, it's a big institution. Oh, it's safe. It's secure. That's Crypto.com. But they're going to be that for the world. Because what they're doing right now is tackling the American market. Don't get me wrong. They are in lots of other places doing amazing things. Europe, Australia, Asia, like Singapore, they're doing it. But they know, if I conquer the American stage, it gives me a global platform. This is the reason why they've partnered with things like F1 racing. They partner with things like the NBA and the WNBA, partner with things like UFC, partner with things like boxing, because these things are global stages, like the World Cup. Like, think about what they're doing in their branding, because they know the digital shift and digital age is coming. So what they're doing is planting subliminal messages inside of all of these people's heads that watch your UFCs, your F1 racings, your NBA games, or go to things like the Crypto.com arena. Follow me on this. And once they do that foray into crypto, what are they going to go with? What they feel is safe and secure based off of what's been being fed to them via the media, the things that they consume as far as their sports and entertainment. And they're going to adopt and go with Crypto.com. Follow me. Crypto.com doesn't have a seat at the World Economics Forum for no reason. They don't have a seat with the TFTC. I always get these acronyms, but that's the one, not the SEC, but the other one, the CFTC. They don't have a seat with them for no reason. Crypto.com is doing major things in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I couple that with things like Quant, things like Hbar. Like Hbar's governing council? Like come on, y'all. Hbar's, just look at those now 30 companies that sit on their governing council. We're talking some of the hugest behemoths in the world. Now, coupling themselves with Hbar, whether it's on the governing council running nodes or also doing that, couple that with building on top of the technology, which does what? Solidify the technology. Follow what I'm saying. Okay, you guys, just going back to Crypto.com for a minute. What they did was so brilliant as far as branding, because when you have these people search out these things on Google and all these things like we have been accustomed and adopted to do, that makes sense because before Google, there was many other search engines, but Google just became that search engine. You had your Ask Jeeves and your Yahoo's. Yahoo had one and all types of things. But anyway, and they go on there and they type in Crypto.com. They're like, oh, I've been seeing that on the news. Because if you look at it, Crypto.com, on every, I want to say Fox, Bloomberg, MSNBC, all of them show one commercial and one commercial only, Crypto.com. Follow me. Follow what I'm saying with that, because now you have these entities, when they have their crypto segments, showing their traditional players that already have been watching them for maybe 10, 20, 30 years, getting their safe stock exchange advice. Follow me, like your Bloomberg Business, your Fox Business, your MSNBC. While they're watching this, they now see these ads for Crypto.com. And it's the only ad that is played during that segment. What are they doing? They're legitimizing that company. They're letting them know over the next 2, 3 years, 4 years, when this digital shift really starts to take place, and things like CBDCs come into play, because they come in, the digital, there was just news this week that the Digital Dollar Project and the Digital Pound Foundation just started collaborating with each other. With each other. Think about that. The digital shift is happening. But anyway, back to Crypto.com for a minute. They're setting themselves up and putting themselves on a world stage. So therefore, the world will trust this company. I want to say this, but I don't have, and I don't like talking on things. I don't have evidence to back it up. So I'm going to say this in this way. There is a rumor, okay, that there was a New York bank that was failing, and Crypto.com had a seat at the table of bailing this bank out. There's a rumor. I have not had a chance to solidify that, so I'm going to say allegedly, okay? But if that's the case, and you now have crypto exchanges, oh, I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Give me 2 seconds. I don't want this thing. Hold on. Let me put it on Do Not Disturb. Sorry, y'all. I know it's probably going to glitch for a second before it come back focused. But anyway, I have to put on Do Not Disturb. But think about this. You know, if we're in the age now where as banks fail, and you have these entities like Crypto.com, like they said during their AMA, I want to say that was sometime last year when Chris Marzalek, the CEO of Crypto.com, was on the news. Like he said something like they grossed like $2 billion. Like you have banks, you have these players that got money. Think about this. You have, with Crypto.com alone, they signed a $700 million deal for the Staples Arena. They also bought 2 American exchanges. This is the reason why they are now CFTC certified, because they bought two American exchanges for $217 million about 2 years ago. People, there's a lot of news about Crypto.com that have gone up under the radar. Okay? Follow me on this. On top of the multi-million dollar contracts with, like I said, the UFC, that's like a 10-year contract, the F1 racing, all of these things that people watch daily. What is America if it's not sports and events? Think about your boxing, think about your race cars, think about your football, think about your basketball, think about your baseball, think about your hockey, think about your soccer, think about your volleyball, think about your swimming. There's so many events that literally America has a world stage for. That's why when you're famous in America, you're famous everywhere. But you can be famous somewhere else and people in America don't know who you are. There's plenty of like Parisian, like French actors and actresses and singers that America don't know a thing about, but they know Nicki, they know Beyonce, they know Drake. Because if you're famous in America, you're famous worldwide because America is the world stage. So for Crypto.com to be setting themselves up on the American stage the way that they are and doing it in a regulated manner. Follow what I'm saying. That's the difference between Crypto.com and some of the other players as far as your crypto exchanges. Other crypto exchanges that I won't even name, they just went to countries, set up shop, and started doing business. What Crypto.com does is go to a country's regulators and say, hey, what do I need to do to be in your good graces? What do I need to do to be within the standards of your laws? And then they facilitate that and start that. They're actually, like prime example, in Canada, they're the only non-Canadian exchange in Canada, Crypto.com. Why? Because they are setting themselves up to be like the next Binance, but on an even bigger level because, and I'm not saying they're going to take any shine or take any customers away from Binance, but what I'm saying is we have less than 5% of the world's population in crypto right now, okay? And you have a player like Binance that just got fined by the CFTC, the SEC, the DOJ, and the Treasury Department, okay? Follow me on this. $4.3 billion. And then we then remove your CEO. We fine him as well. He may or may not go to jail. And then we put our player in his place. That's what America just did to Binance, right? So couple that with now you have new people coming into crypto, Googling crypto. One of the first things that's gonna pop up is gonna be Crypto.com. Follow me on this. Or they start Googling things like exchanges, and then you Google Binance, but then you see, oh, they've been fined $4.3 billion by the DOJ, the SEC. Do you think they're going to put any money into that? But they're going to put money into that safe player that they've seen on every basketball and every hockey and every football and on the news and the commercials. Follow me on this. Crypto.com is setting themselves up to be the Bank of America for crypto, but for the world, because they are doing it regulated and they are making people feel that we are safe, we can be trusted, we are transparent. They were one of the first people to come out with their reserves. When that whole, FTX calamity happened and the market did that, and all of the exchanges were being questioned, you know what I'm saying? And unfairly, Crypto.com was actually thrown under the bus by Binance's CEO, CZ at the time. We won't even go there because we see where he is right now, out of a job. Anyway, we'll keep on moving. So, Crypto.com had a huge hit with that whole stupid fiasco. But what did they do? They kept their head, because I think at one point in time, I think right before that, they was trading like maybe 20 cents or something in that range, and they dropped under 5. You should have been scooping it up like hotcakes at that point in time because of the way that they are solidifying and setting themselves up. And they're doing it in a very transparent motion. My neighbor's stopping by bringing my tortoise some food. She's so sweet. Okay, so setting themselves up to be behemoths, but not just in one country, but dominating multiple countries. Because they have, I want to say they have a soccer team, and I think Canada, they have a hockey team in Canada, something like that, a soccer team in Africa, and in Australia, the equivalent of the NBA and WNBA in Australia. Like, they are setting themselves up to dominate when the crypto market go from only 5% of the population of the world to 10%, to 20%, to 30%, 40%, because we know it's going to happen, because we know every major company every major country on the planet is talking about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. And if you think people are just going to stop at central bank digital currencies and not put or go into other entities, then you're mistaken. Because what they're doing is they are creating another asset sector. Literally, that's what that Bitcoin ETF was. That was the first step in solidifying distributed ledger technology as a legitimate asset sector. Next is going to be Ethereum's ETF, and so forth and so on. Maybe Solana might get one, or XYZ. Follow me on this, because what they are doing is setting themselves up for the new digital age, because the digital age is right up on us. We have standards going into place within the next 2 years. We have regulations going into place within the next 2 years. There's no coincidence that all of these things are happening simultaneously around the world in unison. It's no mistake at all. But most people are so distracted by the things they see on social media and the news, where they're not seeing exactly what's happening in front of their faces. The distributed ledger age has begun, and utility cryptos, like some of the ones that I have inside of my header, your Quants, your Hbars, your XDCs, your XRPs, your B chains, these things, these companies, because that's what they are. They are distributed ledger companies. Yes, they may have a crypto attached to them, but it is a complete difference from a meme coin that has no company or no real utility, and these companies that are facilitating products and now selling them to the world. Follow what I'm saying. These players over the next, I'm going to say 5 years to a decade, but I don't think it's going to take that long, because mass adoption, they're going to get people with this CBDC very easily. How and why? Because economic times are getting ready to hit the world harder than it's been in over 100 years. And I mean the Great Depression. And it's going to be worse than the Great Depression, because we did exactly the same thing that they did in the 1920s to get them out of the Spanish flu pandemic. It lasted about 4 years. Does it sound familiar? 2020, 2019, COVID. Anyway, I won't even go there. And they overspent, just like every other country did in the world during the 1920s. They overspent in stimulus and whatever else they wanted to overspend in. During that time, the governments and the Federal Reserves did, which led us into the Roaring 20s, which led us into the Great Depression of the 30s. What are we in right now? 2020s. What is it doing? Look at the markets. Look at what's been happening. Stock markets, all-time high. Crypto markets, what did Bitcoin just do? Hit an all-time high, and it ain't nowhere near done. That's the crazy part. It is so many trillions of dollars around the world ready to deploy into this sector. Follow me on this. Hold on, I got some now statements coming in. Hello, everyone. Do you think QNT supply shock happens in 20? And it's a family. Okay, who is there? Crypto Home 777. Yeah, 777. Yes, I honestly, in my very humble opinion, with no type of, financial advice or, whatever. Yeah, honestly, like it's just simple math as far as supply and demand, as far as that, your question, as far as that supply shock and the QNT price going out of 2024 into 2025. And this is the reason why I say that about QNT specifically. Because the governing body of that network has a standard that is getting ready to go live. TC 307. So with that going live, and you have now people utilizing that standard, which is the overledger. Follow me on this. Yes, the actual physical standard of TC 307 is a standard, but then they built overledger based off of the standard, which then made overledger the standard. Hence the reason why they call them themselves in their commercials the standard for building on blockchain, because they are the institutional grade standard for any central bank or multinational that wants to build on a safe, regulated area. They can, because we were at the table building out the standard, which then regulations is built on top of. Follow what I'm saying when I'm telling you about that. So with that being said, as far as the supply shock, absolutely come, because look at the whale wallets that are starting to accumulate QNT. And they're not doing it on small levels. They may do multiple small buys, and to us, it's a humongous buy. But they just might do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000 quant at a time. You know what I'm saying? Especially because their wallet might hold 250,000. So 10,000 is a small, but to me, it's like, I wish I had 1,000. Like, what? Huh? What? And you buying 10,000 at a time. But they're doing it for a reason. Whether, like I said in the video, whether it's a lockup fee, whether it's just a whale that wants to be a future whale in Quant, whether it is an institution, whether it is an exchange, no matter what it is, buying it is buying it for a reason, because they see value and future value in this. So they're setting themselves up for success. Follow me on this. And this is why I've done so many quant videos, because no one, and I mean no one in Web3 is doing the things that Quant Network is doing. And it's because Quant Network is bigger than a crypto. QNT itself is bigger than a crypto, and it's because it is the standard for building on blockchain. That means that if Quant succeeds, Web3 in its entirety succeeds. Follow what I'm saying about this company and how huge of a deal. Because the overledger, utilizing QNT, that is the institutional standard for building on blockchain. Countries, central banks, and huge multinational conglomerates. Follow me. This is the standard, meaning if you want to be in compliance, you're going to build on top of the standard. Follow what I'm saying about QNT. And now you have these multinational players all over the world that are tapping into overledger, having to send transactions. And then think about this, and remember what I said before, anytime there is a smart contract deployed on overledger, QNT is attached to that smart contract, because QNT is the thing that secures the network. Follow what I'm saying. Think about when you have hundreds of thousands of millions, then trillions of transactions flowing through overledger, because you have central banks like the Federal Reserve of America with the digital dollar. You have central banks like the Bank of England with the digital pound. You have central banks like the Bank of Canada that are literally right now have had either interviews or publicly announced or via resumes working with Quant. And that's just 3 out of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, the Bank of Israel, the Bank of the AUE. Think about all of these transactions that these central banks will be processing daily. And if they are utilizing overledger, because it is the standard for building on blockchain, it is not a blockchain, but a blockchain operating system, the first and only of its kind. Think about it like this. In Web 2.0, the reason why Microsoft dominated the way that they did is because they had a hand in building the standard for 2.0, and then they literally fed us Windows because it worked perfectly with the operating system that they created. That's the reason why Windows dominated for so long during that process. It was in every school, it was in every office, it was in every house. Think about that. Now shifted from 2.0 to 3.0, you're now utilizing overledger, the next level of technology that sits on top of IBM's code, that sits on top of Microsoft's code, because it is now Web 3.0, and every transaction flowing through that is utilizing QNT, because QNT is what secures the network. Follow me what I'm saying when I'm telling you. Remember what I said before too. The QNT supply was much higher than 14.8 million. Finally made live. Oh, I've been going live every Sunday. B. I've been going live every Sunday, like for the past, I want to say 3 weeks now. I might just call them Sunday chats. But yeah, so think about that, and think about QNT securing the network. Now think about everything that's utilizing the network via your central banks, via Wall Street. Because if you go and watch any of my videos, Gilbert Verdin himself says, yes, Wall Street will be utilizing our technology. Think about how many trades flow through Wall Street daily. Now think about all of those trades flowing through overledger. Follow me what I'm saying, what I'm telling you, because they have become the standard for building on blockchain. And if you are a multinational player, you always conform to the standard because it makes it easy and seamless transition when it comes to whatever business that you're doing. That's why standards are put in place. So when it's the same here, it's the same here, it's the same here. Now we all can talk to each other. Follow me on that. I'm just gonna look at some comments real fast because I know I'm ranting a little bit. Is somebody there? Okay. All right, cool. So, yes. So think about you, like I said, you have these players like B-Chain. What they are doing in China, in that area, they setting themselves up to be behemoths in supply chain. Think about how much stuff China exports daily. Think about how much stuff in your house right now is made in China. Think about how many times you see that on the back or the bottom of something. Now think about all of those things from whatever point VeChain starts the supply chain tracking for China, because it's already cemented, which is crazy. Think about how many transactions will be flowing through VeChain. Now couple that with their partnership with Walmart China, because they do. Think about that. There was just major news, like I want to say maybe a month ago, something about $200 million or something in VeChain and Walmart China. Follow me on this, y'all. These companies are setting themselves up to be behemoths throughout the digital age, because the digital age, the foundation of it, literally, what our children and grandchildren will grow into and know as societally money and the way things operate. Trust me on this. It is going to be different than what it sits today. Crypto and the distributed ledger sector is being legitimized. Think about this. Think about how many favorable news stories you see about crypto now, today in 2024. Now think your mind back 4 years. Think your mind back 10 years. And think about what you would have heard about distributed ledger and crypto on the news. Either nothing or something terrible. Now you have literally the biggest news organizations in the world, your Bloomberg, your Fox, your MSNBC, not only reporting on crypto, but they have complete crypto segments that air daily. And it's all talking about crypto, the distributed ledger technology sector, in a very friendly, positive manner, which is making your traditional players that watch these news stories and have been watching these organizations for forever trust this sector. Follow me what I'm saying. Somebody said, do you think once overledger. I'm not going to necessarily say Q&T, but what I will say is overledger. And by me saying overledger, it's inevitable that that associates Q&T because we know Q&T powers overledger, okay? But I'll say overledger. Once overledger is fully opened up and all these players that are already building out foundations on top of it, and once those foundations are buildings are starting to be laid on top of that foundation, as far as like your central banks and your Black Rocks and all of those things, I absolutely think, and this is just my humble opinion, yet again, not financial advice, but I absolutely think it will affect the price in a dramatic way. Because these entities that are utilizing and this, think about it, that's the reason why. Think about it. Gilbert and the team was very smart. Gilbert and the team did not set the license fee amount via how many quant. No, they did it based off of dollars, meaning if you want to utilize overledger, it's $10,000 a year. Does this make sense? So no matter if quant is 50 cents, and that's 10,000. I don't know how many quant there will be, but it'll be a lot of quants. Or if quant is 1 million and that 10,000 only buys a fraction of a share of it, it's still a set license fee. That was very smart by denominating it in some type of currency as opposed to an amount of Q&T, because it is inevitable once Q&T, once overledger is massively adopted, that it will affect the price of Q&T because Q&T powers and secures the overledger network. So absolutely, I do agree that it will. But like I said, my humble opinion, hey, yes, Q&T does rule. Hey, I thank you for following me YouTube. And then it gets into some, I believe European talk. But hey, Spanish, I believe that's the channel that has like 1.2 million subscribers. It blew my mind when I saw that subscription. I was like, whoa, but hey, thank you for even watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for just commenting. And yes, Q&T absolutely rules. People do not realize how important Q&T is going to be to Web3. Not just a cryptocurrency, because they are building out standards for all of the institutional players around the world to adapt and build on top of. Because they had a seat at the table creating the standard TC 307, which is the standard for building on blockchain. It's absolutely insane. 57 major countries are attached to this standard. This standards working group, I can't remember the exact month, but it's in between June and August. They have their yearly meeting, and it's going to be in Italy. TC 307, Quant Network's standard for building on blockchain for the world. Their next meeting is this year in Italy, sometime this summer. Follow me. And anything I always say, fact checking. Sometimes you said, do you think we will have? Okay, that's another, that's so hard to say. And the only reason why I say that's so hard to say, in my heart, I feel that if a true utility run kicks off, and I mean you start, because right now, let's not cap. Every utility token is in the dumps compared to your meme tokens. Your Hbar, your VeChain, your Chronos, your XRPs, your Quant, all, because even if you think about Quant alone, from what it hit during the bear market, when everything else was completely stagnant or down to the bottom of the depths, Quant did a run up to 2 something. Okay, so for it to be sitting right here at 1 something, you know what I'm saying? All of these utility tokens are in the dumps. But the caveat to that is when the utility run actually begins, because these are companies, these are central banks, and these are countries. These transactions never stop. They are 24/7, 365. Now think about if you have one of these utility tokens in your possession, like your Quants, your Hbars, your XDCs, your XRPs, I'm gonna throw Chronos in there because the way they set themselves up, he may not be ISO, but they're setting themselves up with governing bodies around the world. Anyway, and these things kick off, and there's a true utility run. These transactions don't stop. Countries don't stop sending transactions. Think about how many transactions flow through Amazon daily, who we already know is worked with Quant and has tapped into overledger. And by working with Quant, literally tapping into overledger, which then allowed them to tap into the RLN system, which then allowed them to tap into the M10 system. I talked about all of these things in my videos. Allow Amazon to scale up to 1.2 million transactions per second. Follow me on this, okay? Because these multinational players are setting themselves up so they know that it will not be a hiccup. It won't be, people think it's gonna be like, the lights go down. We gonna go through this dark age, and when it pops back up, it's gonna be the age of digital. No, absolutely not. These people that make billions of dollars a second, think about that. Do you think that they're going to allow their systems to actually go down and for them to start losing out on billions of dollars? No. But what they're doing, like the European real-time gross settlement system that's being upgraded this June, is you've been testing for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years your distributed ledger technology foundation via your standard TC307. Follow me on this. Hence the reason why Quant was ingrained into UK finance. Why do you think UK finance ingrained Quant into it? Why? Because they are the standard for building on blockchain, which blockchain is going to power the next sector of the economy. Hence the reason why it's being legitimized on everything you could possibly think of. Absolutely, Quant will be big. Absolutely. But a lot of people don't realize it because they're equating it to price action. Oh, it's not moving. Or, oh, it's only went from 85 to 130 and it keep on slipping back. Anytime it slipped back to 110 and 115, oh, it ain't never go do nothing. Oh, Gilbert and the team is scamming us. Oh, they keep selling tokens. Yo, every single project sells tokens. Even your favorite ones. All of them do. So if that's your rationale behind Quant being a scam because they sell tokens, then every single project is a scam. How about that? Anyway, all right, I don't care about the price. Yes, especially, right. Why would you care about price when you really know what you hold and you see that the team that is solidifying what you hold is building out with multinational players and central banks and governments and companies like BlackRock? Think about this. When Larry Fink says in that interview that I posted, I think maybe in 2 different videos, when Larry Fink says the bond market is being transformed as we speak, he's not saying that figuratively. He is saying that literally, because they are literally tokenizing stocks and bonds as we speak. They are setting that foundation as I'm making what I'm saying right now. On Monday morning, when those people go back to work, There is a sector of all of those places, your NASDAQ, your Wall Street, and wherever else, is setting themselves up for the tokenization and the digital front that is upon us. And if you don't think so, look at some of the openings that these companies have had over the last few years. And a lot of those things had stuff like digital. Okay, because they're set, like, look at even your Robin Hoods. Robin Hoods is another one that I feel like is setting themselves up to be a mammoth moving forward, because a lot of places that did just your traditional stock exchange stuff, like, you know, Robin Hood and Fidelity and all those things that we knew, what they did when they shifted into crypto, they were like, yo, I see where this is going, so I'm getting ready to cement myself in the next 50 years of the economy. And I'm going to do it before the other one so that I have first mover advantage. Follow me. That's what Quant has over everybody else, is first mover advantage. Because, excuse me, they're not a blockchain. They are a blockchain operating system, the first and only of its kind. They have first mover advantage. Now, couple that first mover advantage with creating, not have a seat at the table. They created TC307 and then had multiple companies and countries come on to then start building out the standard for building on blockchain. And this has been going on for 8 years. Come on, y'all. Think in your personal life, and I'm gonna keep saying this so it'll really weigh on people. Think in your personal life. Now think back 8 years. Now think about what you do today. Did you have the foresight 8 years ago to see where you are right now? Absolutely not. None of us did. But to know Quant Network 8 years ago had the foresight that I am going to become the standard for building on blockchain. And not only have that foresight, then put a plan in place and then executed that plan perfectly. Because what you did was you put that plan in place, you then created the standard body, and then you had every major government on the world, the state of the world, go up. Look at TC307. Look at all of the countries that are named in TC307 that sits and comes to these yearly meetings. Follow what I'm saying. Who had their foresight? But their foresight gave Gilbert Verdian and the team first mover advantage. That is something that no one else has in the distributed ledger technology sector, because they are the first and only blockchain operating system. And for them to be the first and only blockchain operating system that makes every single blockchain run seamlessly together without a hiccup. But then you also went even further than that and was like, you want to know what I'm also going to do? I'm also going to make every single blockchain run seamlessly together, and then I'm going to be able to bridge that with the traditional rails of 2.0 internet seamlessly. So now that means that all of my institutional players that have trillions of dollars at their management and disposal now have a safe, easy, regulated standard to now start transferring money via distributed ledger technology. And it's not just the standard TC307, it's also the standard with the Internet Engineering Task Force, the Safe Asset Transfer Protocol, which we now have so many countries that have already adapted that standard. And that is Quant Network's standard. And guess what that standard is utilizing? Overledger. So now that's two standards tied into Overledger, TC307 and safe asset transfer protocol. So TC307 will allow your countries to build their businesses securely on top of blockchain. Your safe asset transfer protocol will allow your companies to transmit money safely via blockchain. Do y'all do that? Does that really resonate and sink in what I just said about those two standards that are literally the standard for building on blockchain, both utilizing overledger? Come on now. Come on. Think about true utility in motion. Think past 2024. Think 2030, y'all. Think 2030 when the World Economic Forum's Agenda 2030 is actually in place. Because the onboarding of that agenda starts 2025. Hence the reason why ISO 222, November 2025. That's the start date for that new messaging standard for sending money. And what is that built on top of? Distributed ledger technology. You now have every single major asset manager in America have a what? Besides one. And then if that one doesn't wake up, they're going to be left behind. And they're going to wish, once they close in their doors, that they had adopted their Bitcoin ETF and Ethereum and everything else, because it is the next sector of the economy. Don't listen to your Charlie Mongers and your Warren Buffetts that don't see utility or don't see value, because this sector will have in their minds this sector has outlived them. They can't see it because they won't be around to see it. Their traditional stocks and those things will still be there. Give it time, because everything is being tokenized. Houses, cars, art, diamonds, land. Think about it like this. Think about it as far as tokenization is concerned. Think about blockchain, okay? And if you don't know what blockchain is, it is literally a consortium of players that is building out the South American dollar, the Latin American dollar. There is 12 countries as we speak in Latin America, and some of the, I don't want to say Bahamian islands, but some of the islands, because it's not just Latin America. But anyway, it's 12 countries that is now utilizing a CBDC that is tied to the US dollar. It is called blockchain. If you don't know what it is, look it up, okay? Now think about this. Think about it in this way. They are utilizing overledger, and this is a live open partnership. Gilbert talks about it. It's on their website. So think about it, that overledger technically is tokenizing 12 countries in South America. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it is. If they're building out their digital infrastructure, which will include tokenization, because that's what they're using, digital currency is tokens, they're tokenizing them. So you now have overledger tokenizing 12 countries, and now attaching that tokenization to the United States of America via the Federal Reserve. Follow what I'm saying. Gilbert Verdian does not have the Federal Reserve of America on his resume in an active status. He has one part of the resume, it is something from the past. But there's another part of the resume where he is still actively working with the Federal Reserve of America. Okay? Now think about blockchain. Think about what he said about blockchain. That we have these 12 countries initially. And we are building out the digital infrastructure of these 12 countries initially. What do you think that is? That is them testing the American CBDC. It is their testing phase. Does this make sense? Because every rollout goes through a testing phase before going live, because they have to ensure once it goes live, it's safe, it's resilient, it's secure. All of the hiccups would have happened during the rollout. So therefore, as mass adoption occurs and more and more people start utilizing their digital currencies around the world, because it is inevitable, because of what I said earlier, go back to the 1920s, which led into the Great Depression of the 30s, but also coupled with that time, what was happening? There was a transition of money in this country happening. And what do you mean by that, Channing? Before 1908, every bank had the right to print their own money because they held their own assets and liabilities. It was called a bank note. After the Federal Reserve came into play, I want to say that was around 1908, it then made it illegal for any entity to print money of American currency. So then they changed from a banknote to what we now know as cash. Okay? Follow me on this, because that banknote was backed by that bank's assets, whether that was gold, whether that was property, whether that was businesses. But now we went to a cash currency, which is backed by nothing. And then it was further solidified backed by nothing when Nixon took us off the gold standard, but that's still a few decades away. Follow me on this. So now we are in the 1920s, going through a pandemic. They overprint money during this pandemic, not just in America, but worldwide, which then inflated prices globally, which then led to the Great Depression of the 30s. But what most people don't realize is on April 5th, I believe, 1933, Executive Order 6105 was signed into fruition by that president. And what that executive order was, hey, if you have anything over this amount of gold, you have to now turn that into the U.S. government, and you have to get our new equivalency, which was cash, in its place. Okay? Follow me on this, because we're going to move present day into the now 2020s, and the same exact thing is happening. Now, couple the Great Depression with that executive order being signed, which is now starting the transition of the mass adoption of cash, because the same transition is happening right now with the mass adoption of blockchain and CBDCs. Follow me on this, y'all, because it's already happened to us before, but most of us do not know history, so we don't realize that it's already happened, it's already done, it's already been done to our forefathers. Follow me on this. So now you have that executive order being put in place where it makes it illegal to have more than a certain amount of gold in your personal possession. So now people are now turning gold into the U.S. government, which then built out the U.S. government's gold reserves. Okay, follow me on this. This is true. This is factual. Look up what I'm saying. I'm not making up a story. This is not a fairy tale. This is historical fact. Okay, so you now are giving the peoples your new version of currency. How do you then boost the economy out of the purposeful crash of overinflating your money in the 20s? Was World War II happened. Sorry, because war generates revenue. It is no coincidence, present day, that we had exactly 100 years later, we had a worldwide pandemic that fueled and is now currently fueling the new version of what history will know as the Roaring 20s, because stock markets are higher than it's ever been. The crypto markets are higher than it's ever been. GDP is higher than it's ever been. Follow me. But just like in the 1920s, what followed that roar? It was the biggest dip and the biggest drop that we've ever seen. There were soup kitchens because people couldn't afford to eat. Follow me on this, because I am going somewhere. Now, couple that with what we're feeling now. Think about what has happened over the past 4 years. We had the C word, 19, where about 8 trillion was printed. Since then, we've had now, I want to say another 2 or 3 bills. The first one was passing a debt ceiling last year, which was another 2.5 trillion. This past Friday, which is crazy. Another 1.5 trillion to pass the debt ceiling again. Now I don't even know how much money it is, and that's on top of the COVID money. Follow what I'm saying, y'all. What is getting ready to happen over the next, because it takes 2 years to feel the effects of money printing. They have trained us to believe that high prices is inflation, and that is absolutely 100% false. High prices is a side effect of inflation. The inflation was when you printed that money. That is technically, and if you look up inflation, that's what it is. It is the act of overinflating something. Think about a balloon. A balloon is just a balloon. But when you start doing what? Pushing air into it, what does it do? It starts to inflate. If you do that too much, what happens to that balloon? It bursts. Now, what do you think is happening to the economy right now? When you have all of these multi-trillion-dollar acts being pushed through Congress, and it's been happening ever since 2020. In 2020, and just one of those stimulus packages, we printed more money in 1 month than we did for the first 200 years of our country combined. Think about what I just said. We printed more money in 1 month than the first 200 years of our country combined. That's insane. And think about how much money has been printed after that. Now go to 100 years in the past when the world overinflated money during the early 20s. My alarm went off. I know it just probably staggered, which then led into the Roaring 20s, which led into the Great Depression of the 30s, which led into World War II to stimulate and generate revenue to pull them out of the depths. Now, fast forward, 2020, we've printed ungodly amounts of money, including just this past Friday, to repass the debt ceiling, another 1.5 trillion. It takes 2 years to feel the effects of money printing. Remember that. So, excuse me, I had my protein shake earlier. But it takes 2 years, to feel the effects of money printing. So think about, if we're sitting in 2024, we're just now feeling the effects of the money printing that was done in 2022. So now think about the money that was printed in 2023, which was another $2.5 trillion. You're not going to feel that until 2025. Now think about the $1.5 trillion that we just printed again now in 2024. You're not going to feel that until 2026. Now couple that with literally every major organization across the country laying people off. The same exact thing they did in the 1920s leading into the 30s. Look up historical facts. There was the Federal Reserve, just like the Federal Reserve did 2 years ago, told those people there needs to be a reduction in force across the country because they understand and know the only way to stop inflation is to stop people spending money. And the only way to stop people spending money is to stop people's access of money. And the only way to stop access of money is to cut jobs, because if they don't have, they can't spend, which then starts to reverse inflation. Follow me on this. This is a major thing that's happening right now, and it's already happened 100 years ago. Most people don't know history, so they don't see what's literally being played out. It's a chess game. It's like them playing Battleship. Literally the same exact thing. And what are they already setting the world up for right now? World War III. You have all of these major conflicts going on right now around the world. And who is in the middle of it all? America. Follow what I'm saying when I'm telling you, because war generates revenue. That debt ceiling that was just passed, look at how much money went to these efforts of war. Follow what I'm saying, you guys. It's already been done 2 years ago. I'm not. It's like just like 2001. I cannot think of the exact executive order, so I won't say it. But Joe Biden signed an executive order in regards to blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and CBDCs 2 years ago. Follow what I'm saying, y'all. The digital age, the digital shift is upon us. And that foundation of that digital age and digital shift is happening right now. It's the same exact playbook from 100 years ago when they were ready to switch out currency. Executive order was put into place. You then turned in currency, which was gold and banknotes. And you got their equivalent in its place, which was cash. Now that we're moving into a digital age where CBDCs are going to reign supreme, what's happening right now? Every single major central bank is on some level of CBDC deployment, whether that's testing, whether that's beta, whether it's actual already live. LackChain is live. Hold on one second. I got a couple of things coming in. I just want to say real fast, does this project, yeah, got you. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm gonna read the other one. See me make America and war. No, exactly. Both of those things. So the first thing was, how does this project I honestly do not think it's lacking. I think it's being suppressed purposefully. Think about it. It's almost like buy and sell orders, right? So what's happening is they're literally just balancing out the buying and the sell orders to ensure that the price stays stable. So you have all these multinational players that's getting your license fees, that's getting your whales accumulating, or whoever is getting these or hold these wallets that have thousands and hundreds of thousands of quant inside of them. So they can get it at a nice stable price because they know once the price suppression actually stops, price discovery is going to be insane because all-time highs are going to be blown through so fast your head is going to spin. Think about you have every transaction on the planet flowing through overledger. Now think about all those transactions being secured by Q&T. It's going to absolutely skyrocket. Oh, hold on 2 seconds. The United States makes more money on war. Absolutely, because war generates revenue. Absolutely. And this is the reason why it's happening right now. This is not something that's just by happenstance. This is a plan. This is an absolute plan because they're getting ready to implement their digital currency. And what they need to do, which is going back to what I was talking about earlier about the Great Depression of the 20s, 1920s, that is. I mean, the 30s leading out of the 20s. It's going to happen again. Now, it may happen before the 30s because of the amount of money that we're printing. But once we do go through this dip, what's going to happen is you're going to get a stimulus, but it's going to be in the form of a CBDC. They've already trained us. They're going to say, download this app, set it up because it's a government app, set it up, set up the wallet. There'll be YouTube videos and tutorials and all type of things to do this. Trust me, because they've already trained the masses on this. It's going to be simple as 1, 2, 3. And for them to get the stimulus, it's going to be received in digital currency, which is going to start the mass adoption of blockchain technology, CBDCs, and digital currency. And not just America, but you have the digital dollar, the digital pound, the digital euro, the digital yuan. Like all of these multinational central banks are now working on these projects for no reason. Project Helvetia, Project Hamilton, Project Rosalind, Project Meridian. There's been so many projects, it's insane. I have a video coming out tomorrow that's actually coupling and talking about some of these projects, y'all. Follow me on this. These things are not happening for no reason. Not at all. Some 2020. Yeah, exactly. Someone did just spend $22 million on Quant. That's insane. That's insane. Okay? Think about the bag that they now hold. Think about that. Not only Quant being together, it's crazy. Absolutely. This brother knows what he's talking about. Y'all better listen. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But yes, these things that's happening right now. It's no coincidence. These things that are taking place, these foundations that's being laid, these blockchain operating systems and other blockchain companies that are facilitating and bringing real world value and real world use case like Hbar, like VeChain, like Chronos, like Crypto.com, like Quant, like XRP, like XDC. I'm trying to think of these other ISO cryptos. I think IOTA is also another one, another ISO crypto. These things, and everything I just named, remember, they all at slow price action right now. It's nothing compared to your meme tokens right now. Absolutely nothing. It's making these, and don't get me wrong, we're all pretty, if you bought during the depths of the bear market into these projects, everybody's sitting kind of pretty. You know, you kind of got a little, but when you look at, you know, your Shibas and your Pepes and, you know, these things, they're like way up there, right? Which then makes you feel like, man, did I make a mistake? Or man, why did I not? Or if you sold these things, like, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of Shiba. I sold a lot of my Shiba during the bear market, but guess what I did? I bought Quant with it. Okay? I'm not gonna lie about that. Have I had a thought, you know, when I saw Shiba, you know, really do that? You know, I was like, man. But then I thought, and I was like, nothing compares to Quant. If it takes a year, if it takes 2 years, I'm good. I'm solidified in my decision because I see what overledger is doing. I see what Quant Network is doing. And I see how important QNT is going to be in solidifying all the work, all of the foundation that is being laid right now as we speak in 2024. And remember what I said before, y'all, and this is the biggest part about the foundation. It is the most important part of any structure, whether you see it or not. I promise you, QNT and the foundation that it is laying around the world for all of these multinational players, governments, and central banks to now start building on top of. You, in 4 or 5 years, you may not see QNT or the overledger. You might only see Bank of America. You might only see whatever. But to know that all of those transactions are flowing through it and you own, by holding QNT, you literally own a piece of the network, the next sector of the economy, and not just American economy, the world's economy, because every single country is building out some type of digital infrastructure. Follow what I'm saying. And for you to hold something that as it's almost like this. Think about it like, you know how you have the houses that have center blocks as their infrastructure? Now think about you owning one of those or 2 of those or 10 of those or 20 of those center blocks that is holding up that house, and how integral those center blocks are in the literally everyday workings of ensuring that that house stands up and is secure. Now think of overledger being those center blocks, and each QNT is an individual part of the center block. And you owning a piece of the thing that is powering the next sector of the financial system globally. Think about that. Think about what I'm saying to you right now. Think about how important QNT is going to be, and how important, and how, I don't want to say valuable because I don't want to give financial advice on YouTube. But think about that. Let me look at these comments real fast. I got a couple coming in. The team experience government. Yes, absolutely. Think about, like, if anybody watches any of my videos, not just my recent stuff, but go back and watch some of the things that I first put out when I first started about a month or so ago. Like, we'll talk about, like, he just, like, I'm not going to say he or she because I'm not sure who MO is, but even healthcare. Think about how many transactions flow through the healthcare industry daily. I'm talking from doctor's appointments to ordering equipment to everything that is associated with healthcare, okay? Now think about all of those things flowing through distributed ledger technology, and know that Quant already has a healthcare blockchain operating system, because that is how overledger started. He was the Minister of Justice, I believe, of Australia's healthcare system. And he built, and well, he found a way when trying to make things talk and to be operable with each other. He found a way for them not only to be operable with each other, but to be operable with any operating system in the world. And then that's when the ISOs came to Gilbert and was like, hey, we like what you did with that healthcare blockchain operating system. We want to work with you on building out a global standard for building on blockchain. Since then, which was in 2015, then in 2016, TC307 was birthed. And since 2016, you've had 57 countries, multinational players, and central banks have a seat at the table building out the global standard TC307, the standard for building on blockchain, spearheaded, and governed by Quant Network. Okay? Think about that. And that a lot of people don't even realize that's how it all started, was a healthcare blockchain operating system that Gilbert Burden and whoever he's working with at the time did. Follow me on this. I'm going to another comment. Hi Jenny, great guys here today. Hey, SEO, how you doing, love? Thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching, because I have seen on other videos that you have commented. I appreciate y'all. I gotta get some chapstick for 2 seconds. Hold on, y'all. But yeah, I appreciate the comments. I do see that. And y'all know, anyone who has comments, y'all know I'm actually very timely too in my responses. Now, I don't know how the algorithms actually give it to y'all. And I make sure I actually try to talk and engage with y'all, because trust me, and I've said this to y'all so many times, I'm gonna say it again, for real. And I wanna, and especially all people that's in here right now, I thank y'all for spending time with me, because yes, we're talking about CBDCs. Yes, we're talking about, cryptos. Yes, we're talking about, the potential and the growth and the generational wealth. But if you really want to be 100% factual, the only currency we have on this planet is our time, y'all. That's the only thing that once it's given, you can never get it back. It's time. And it is not, up on me. I see and I feel and I appreciate each and every single one of y'all for spending time with me. Y'all taking time out to watch a video. Y'all taking time out to comment on a video. Y'all taking time out to subscribe to a video. Y'all seeing value in what I'm saying and taking time to listen. Thank you for that currency exchange. Thank you for that energy exchange, because it is truly the only currency that we have, period. Now, we can have as much money in the world. We can have as many cryptocurrencies in the world. We can have as many assets like buildings in the world. But when your time runs out, what does it all mean? Follow me on this, y'all. Thank y'all for y'all time, because it truly does mean something to me, because I know it is truly the only currency on the planet. And that's for real, from the bottom of my heart, for real, y'all. So, for real. So I'm going to get back to some of the comments. I see any comment on the video, I respond to timely manner. Engage with me. You can hit me back, whatever, because if I say something that you may think or not think, then talk back to me. I appreciate y'all for watching, for real. But Getting back to this digital infrastructure and digital shift that's happening around the world simultaneously. Follow me on this. Look at all the countries associated with TC307 and look at all of the countries that's working on literally regulations. Do they kind of sort of mirror each other? Absolutely. That's no coincidence because once that standard was put in place and enough rules and guidelines were legitimized, which was overledger, follow me, they now can start building laws that will then govern you and I as regards to distributed ledger, blockchain technology, and the currencies associated with it. Whether that is your XRPs, your XLMs, your XRPs, your Chronoses, or I love R3 Quarter, which is also partnered with Quant, which is crazy because look at everything that R3 has going on. Insane. And to know that they're tapped into overledger, insane. It's kind of sort of like it's a F finality, like finality, like to know all the central banks and all the things that are tied into finality, like literally the Nasdaq, and to know that finality is working with overledger. It's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing what this company has been able to pull off. But getting back to this infrastructure, y'all, investing in utility tokens is investing in infrastructure. And think about how important infrastructure is to anything that sits on top of it. Now think about the value that is being layered with that because we're coupling that now with Web3 infrastructure. That is what Web3 is. It is literally being able to send value via the internet. Because right now, can we send money back and forth? Yes. But is it instant? No. That's what Web3 brings. Web3 brings instant liquidity. And it also brings democratization of that liquidity. Which means that I no longer need a third party to, if I have, let's say for instance, I own a winery and I have now started making NFTs for my bottles of wine. Well, I no longer need a third party to sell these NFTs. I can now do this via blockchain. And once they receive this bottle of wine associated with this NFT, which solidifies it, it now legitimizes this bottle of wine. Just like with art. Art is being tokenized right now. Just like with like I said, the stock market. These things are being literally legitimized by blockchain because fraud is real. And this is the reason why most countries and organizations are moving to blockchain. Because like Gilbert Verdian says, it's future-proof. It's safe. It's resilient. It's transparent. Listen to key verbiage, because key verbiage matters when someone speaks. Most people don't listen. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? Happy Sunday. Thank you for coming and thank you for coming in. Most people don't speak to verbiage. Most people listen and then take away what they feel like taking away from it as opposed to actually and factually processing what's being disseminated. Because that's two totally different things. Okay? So, as you say things like safe, resilient, now you have companies that literally transmits billions of dollars, in some instances a day, like your Amazons. If you're worth $1 trillion, you're definitely dealing in billions a day. Okay? Follow me. So you now have a safe, resilient standard that you can now utilize. Couple that same standard with another standard, which is Safe Asset Transfer Protocol. So now you have TC307 and Safe Asset Transfer Protocol working harmoniously together. And we know TC307, that standard that was created, is overledger. Okay, so now you have Safe Asset Transfer Protocol, which is the onboarding of transactions into TC307, overledger, which is the standard. Because you have multinational players like your BlackRock, talking about tokenization. You're Jamie Dimon talking about tokenization. I might say this man's name wrong. You're a Holland. I can't say his name right now. But who's like man, what's his name? His last name starts with an M. But anyway, talking about tokenization. You have players from like Franklin Templeton talking about tokenization. Literally, follow what I'm saying, because tokenization is literally the next sector of the economy. Things will start to be tokenized. And as these things get tokenized, it will then start bringing value to these utility tokens that are facilitating the tokenization and that are facilitating the foundation of tokenization. Things like Hbar with Toko. These things aren't being done for no reason. These Aberdeen. These things are not being done for no reason. You don't have these multinational players. The largest asset manager in the UK not only sits on Hbar's governing council, but also actively using them for tokenization services. Why? Because they're setting themselves up for the next sector of the economy, tokenization. Then which will lead into blockchain technology and CBDCs. Because first, think about it. Your big money always moves first. And then once your big money moves, it makes little money feel like it's safe and secure. And what I mean by that is you have the standard for building on blockchain, you have TC307, you have safe asset transfer protocol, which comes out of the IETF, also dealing with blockchain and Quant network. Then you have the things like the standard ISO 222, which is literally that messaging standard for sending money via blockchain. Let's just be for real, what it is. And so now your multinational players now have a safe, regulated space to start sending transactions by the billions and trillions. And if you don't think it's going to happen, sit back and wait the next 2 years and you'll come back to this video and be like, everything that brother said was spot on. I promise you, I've done a lot of research in this. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of watching, learning, obtaining, and growing. Because if you knew me 3 years ago, you wouldn't have heard anything about distributed ledger technology coming out of my mouth. I had no idea about these things. But once it got on my radar, and then I really started to see exactly what was being built out in front of our eyes. It is absolutely incredible. And it's not only being built out, but it's being publicly talked about. Like I said before, it's not being talked about in quiet rooms and board rooms. It's on platforms like Twitter. It's on platforms like YouTube. Hey, Tim, what's going on, buddy? It's on platforms like YouTube. It's on platforms like TikTok and Facebook. Excuse me. Instagram. Excuse me. Okay, these things, and not to mention, now couple that with now you have every single major news institution now having crypto segments. This is not happening for no reason. Mass adoption is literally, I don't even want to say right around the corner at this point or anymore. We're literally on the precipice of mass adoption, because first you start the education. And that's what's happening right now, you guys, is the education and the solidification of blockchain technology, distributed ledgers. Okay? Follow me on this. This is the reason why Fox Business, Bloomberg, MSNBC, they all have dedicated crypto segments that airs daily. You're now educating the people, because you know that's the first step of mass adoption. Because once people get educated and get some type of, whether it's a good understanding, whether it's a high level understanding or low level understanding, but it's an understanding of it, they're then more receptive of adoption. Think about this. The same thing happened with debit cards. Think about the rollout of the debit card. That wasn't instant. If you go back 15 years, 16, 17 years, debit cards wasn't no thing. You used cash and you used checks Follow me on this. And most places didn't even have anything you could even swipe. But then think about the adoption of it. More and more banks started to offer the debit card, because at first we only had the bank card, which was the ATM card, which you can only put inside the ATM and get money out. Okay? It's called mass adoption for a reason. It's a plan. Like, they know as more and more people start utilizing this new debit card, and now you have commercials like Visa, you have commercials like MasterCard, American Express, now talking about, it has my logo on it. It's safe. It's secure. It's now trusted. It's not just your bank. It's also a name that you have been that in your mind, because you probably already had a credit card with that logo on it. Follow me. It's education. And the same thing is happening right now with blockchain. By them having that stuff on the news and it being very favorable, it being very upbeat, it being very future-esque looking towards financial systems on these mainstream news entities, that is the education of people, which is the first step, like I just said, in mass adoption. Follow me, because first what you're doing is they're educating the big boys. This is why it's on these places, because you have your institutional investors that now have an asset in Bitcoin. So they want to see it on the news. We got to talk about it. I got to know what's happening with it. So now that it's on the news, more and more people got their eyes on it. And people be like, well, I thought that was a scam, or people lost their money. But wait a minute, it's at $70-something thousand. Hold on, what happened? Let me look into that. Education. Follow what I'm saying, you guys. Let me look at these comments real fast. As a manager, yes. Absolutely. UNT is an amazing utility. Absolutely. I 100% agree with both those statements. But that major utility token versus meme, absolutely. Like, don't let a meme token that is only gonna get you so far trick you. And I'm not saying nothing about no project. I'm not saying nothing about your Pepe and your Shiba and your whatever. I'm not saying nothing about it at all, y'all. At all. Hold it, love it, buy it, sell it, do what you want to do with it. Okay? But it is nothing compared to utility in motion. And once these utility-based cryptos, these companies that are facilitating and building out infrastructure, think how integral infrastructure is to your economy. Think of the infrastructure that was built 50 years ago of what we sit on top of today. And had that infrastructure not be laid, what would we be? Follow me on this. And for them to be building out infrastructure, and them to actually not only build it out, but say, hey, we are facilitating the infrastructure for the next 40 to 50 years of the economy. These are things that's coming out of Gilbert Verdian's mouth, the Quant Network CEO. Listen to what people are saying. Don't just hear it and then process how you want to process it. No. Listen to words. And if you hear words you don't understand, or if it's coupled with words you understand, look it up. Educate yourself. Because education is power. Knowledge is power. And I promise you, the more you know, I said in one of my videos, the more you grow. Hence the reason, once I got into the distributed ledger sector and I started educating myself, my first foray into crypto was Dogecoin. Like probably everybody who's watching right now, first foray, anybody who got in inside 2020, 2021, it was Dogecoin. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. How did that happen overnight? Like, what? Like, oh my God, what is this crypto thing? And how do I get more of it? And then something called Shiba popped up. And it was supposed to be the next Dogecoin. It's the Dogecoin killer. Oh, we got to get Shiba. And Shiba has leash and it has bone. And it's and they have the what you call it, Shibarium's coming and all of these wonderful things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crapping on those projects. I've held those projects. But understand, it's a difference. It's almost like if you go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac versus you going to some upscale restaurant where your Kobe steak is $100 or $200 a steak. It's a different ambiance. It's a different experience. And that's the same thing when you compare a meme token to a utility crypto. There's no comparison because one is McDonald's and one is a 5-star restaurant that has 7 Michelin stars. It's a difference. And Quant Network is that 5-star restaurant that has 7 Michelin stars. So this price action right now in 2024, count it as a blessing and say thank you to whoever you pray to that you still have time to accumulate whole quants at under $200. Whole quants. Because you can still accumulate, and I'm going to still, because trust me, listen to me, y'all. I'm never going to stop buying quant. And this is what I mean by that. I'm going to just keep on dollar cost averaging. Even when it get to a point where quant is 1,000, then quant is 2,000, then quant is 3,000, then quant is 4,000, and 5,000, then 10,000, then 20,000, then 100,000, then a million. Follow me, because it will be. Because it's utilizing, it is literally facilitating the foundation of the next sector of the economy and the financial system via your central banks and your governments. I'm gonna keep on because you can never have enough. Don't get me wrong. Get your goal, hold your goal, love your goal. Once you reach your goal, this is what I do. Once I reach my next goal, I make another goal. Because I look at like a second chance at accumulating Bitcoin at $100. Think about how different your life would be if you accumulated Bitcoin at $100 and you now hold those Bitcoin in 2024. Think about that. Now, give yourself 2030 with Quant. When you have things like Agenda 2030 from the World Economic Forum going into place, you have CBDCs in every major country now flowing and operational, flowing through overledger. You have the safe asset transfer protocol. So now you have your multinational players now flowing through overledger. Every single smart contract that's deployed in overledger, Q&T is attached to it. And I know I said this before, and I need to get an answer, and I'm going to say it again until somebody can answer it for me, because whenever they give me an answer, they always talk about, oh, Q&T is used for license fees, this, and the third. Listen, because if this theory, it's a theory, but if this theory is correct, that then makes Q&T deflationary. Follow me. Every single transaction that flows through overledger, Q&T is attached to it. Now think of what a blockchain is. It is an operating system that is immutable, which means it can never be changed. So that means that that Q&T that is attached to that smart contract will be in perpetuity attached to that smart contract. So as more and more smart contracts are deployed, that means the Q&T in existence will begin to dwindle because it can't be bought up because it's attached to a smart contract that can't be changed. Think about that. Think about the supply of Q&T at that point in time. We talk about supply shocks, supply and demand. Think about that. Think about 5 years of overledger being the granddaddy and the king of what it's going to be. Then think about 10 years of overledger. Because think about it. Here in America, the Quant Network's patent doesn't expire until 2040. 2040. Think about where we sit right now in 2020. Now think about how far away, but how close, but how far away 2040 is. So that means that they are solidified and cemented, that no one can come behind them and build a blockchain operating system that operates the way that they do because they are patented. Follow. And it's not just in America. It's that same day they got it in America, they got it in Japan. They got it in the UK. They got it from the what do you call it? The United Nations also gave them a patent that same day. And I believe it was China, it was Japan. It was multiple patents given out in one day to one company for one product. Follow me what I'm saying when I'm telling you what Quant is, what the overledger is, and how important QNT is going to be in facilitating and securing the network of overledger. This is nothing to fumble the ball on. Don't let slow price action. Look at this as a blessing. Look at $100, $130, $120, $150, $175 as a blessing. Because one day it will skyrocket. And once institutional money starts deploying into the thing that they are using, follow me on this. That once that rocket ship takes off, you try to hold on the best you can while you smiling like this with big old grins because you really see and you had the foresight in 2020 to start buying the most important network in the world, because it is the network of networks. It is the network that ties every single other network on the planet, whether that network is another blockchain system, whether that network is a multinational player like, Google or Amazon, whether that network is a institutional player like your BlackRocks, like your Fidelities, or if that network is just like the people that's watching right now, you and me. Because if you don't understand it, know you are a network. That's why they call social media what they call it. Because you are a network. Everything that you are going through online is creating a digital version of yourself. And it's going to be utilized in Web3. It's called a digital twin. You're a network as well. And Quant is the thing that connects every network to another network. Like I said, whether that's you in your doctor's office, whether that's you in your job, whether that is you and your cousin or your mother or your sister in sending money, whether that's you in the government, it's connecting every network to another network. Whether that network is a central bank sending money to another central bank, whether that network is an asset manager and you're buying and selling stocks and bonds, it's a network. And Quant is the network of networks. These things are not being just said for no reason. Listen to what Gilbert Verdian says when he makes his rare appearances and speak. When he says things like, we're the network of networks. When he says things like, we're working with the Bank of International Settlements. Well, no, and look up, who is the Bank of International Settlements? Oh, wow, they're the governing body of central banks. Interesting. These are big things that seem to be getting looked over by most retail investors because they only see price action. They don't see the value in what overledger is bringing to the world because they have multinational governments, central banks, and institutions building on top of it because they are the standard for building on blockchain. Now, whether that building is via a non-disclosure agreement or whether that building is via a public announcement, it doesn't change the fact of it being a building. And they are building on top of them. Follow me when I'm telling you what I am telling you about Quant Network and the overledger and them being the absolute, unequivocal standard TC307, the global standard for building on blockchain. That is a major deal, an extreme major deal. And you couple that with the Internet Engineering Task Force having something called Safe Asset Transfer Protocol, which is literally being described as the next layer of the internet. It is the layer that sits on top of the current layer that we now sit in Web 2.0. Think about now not just your central bank transactions and not just the multinational actions. Now just think about transactions like people Googling things, people searching things, people going to people's websites, and all of these things flowing through the standard for building on blockchain. Follow what I'm saying to you, you guys, because it is all going to be attached to Web 3.0. And this is why I say Quant is QNT is way bigger than a cryptocurrency, because it is literally the fabric of Web 3 for any traditional player that wants to be a part of Web 3. Follow me what I'm saying. Follow me. This is major what's happening. I'm going to get into some of these comments real fast, y'all. Hold on. Yes, billions of dollars. Absolutely. A decent amount. Do you think we will? Oh, yeah. At some point in time, whenever they get the gateway staking up, absolutely. And for anybody, and this ain't financial. Let me tell you what my plan is. So maybe I can say it that way, which will curve off any type of financial advice, right? You will make probably way more. When gateway staking begins, and I start staking Quant via their gateway staking when it comes public for us to actually be a part of it, I will probably make, let me say it this way, more money staking than actually trying to sell my Quant, because you are then now passively receiving the most important asset to Web 3.0, because this asset is literally the standard. The operating system that governs this asset is the global standard, TC307. Then they birthed overledger out of the standard, which then became the standard. This is why they say this in their videos. Overledger, the standard for building on blockchain. They're not just saying that just to say it. They're saying that because it is true. Because for the past 8 years, they have worked on building this standard. This is a major, humongous deal. I don't know if y'all haven't, if you in, hit the like button, please. If you leave a comment, talk to me. I go back and forth with you. You know, if you haven't watched videos, come back. Yo, this is a major thing that we have going on right now. This is a major opportunity we have going on right now. And to know about these crypto and distributed ledger technology companies that are facilitating the building out of Web 3 and the global infrastructure of Web 3 is a major deal. Like Hbar, like Quant, like VeChain, like XDC and XRP and IOTA. They are literally these what they call ISO tokens, these utility-driven tokens. What they are doing quietly with their heads down for the majority of them, or building out the next sector of what the world will be utilizing as far as money, trade, and everyday life. Because whether you going down to your bodega on the corner, or whether you're a multinational player sending $1 trillion somewhere, it's all gonna be built and sent via blockchain. Give it to 2030. I promise you it is, because it's already a plan, and the plan is already in place. Like I said, LACchain, it is 12 countries now utilizing the America's CBDC. LACchain's dollar is tied to the American dollar. That is no mistake. That is no coincidence. That was done because literally that is the testing for the American CBDC. That executive order that was signed 2 years ago for the deployment and the exploration of cryptocurrency, distributed ledger technology, and CBDCs. And if you don't believe me, look it up. You can look up, type in on Google, Joe Biden executive order CBDC, and I guarantee you it pops up. Read it. I'm not joking you when I'm telling you what I'm telling you. CBDCs are inevitable. They're going to happen whether you want it or not. So you need to be smart. Look at the companies that they are. They're distributed ledger technology companies that are associated with an Hbar. You know what I'm saying? You know, Hbar, Hbar. Crypto.com, Chronos. You have Quant, Qnt. But these things are entities. These are companies that have a product that is selling their product to every major government institution and central bank in the world. Think about it like that. Think about it. We are just lucky and blessed to have access to QNT. We are lucky and blessed to have access to Hbar because these things ain't designed for retail. These things are designed for your institutional and multinational players to utilize and use. So for us to have access to these things and hold these things, which are literally pieces of these distributed ledger technologies networks, the networks that are powering the next sector of the economy. Follow what I'm saying. Really listen to the words that's coming out of my mouth. That is a major deal. So with all of these utility-based tokens, don't be fooled by this slow price action. Because even Hbar, ain't doing the hottest and the best when it comes to looking at your meme tokens. Neither is, don't be wrong. Are we up? Yeah, we're up. Kudos. Especially if you bought during up bear markets when it hit 3 cents. Like I did. You know what I'm saying? We up. You know what I'm saying? But is it what it's going to be when it's $1, $2, $3, $10? Absolutely not. Because one day it will be. Because you don't have things like Boeing, T-Mobile, Shihan Bank, LG, the parent company of Nabisco, Toshiba, and so many more that I can't even name off the top of my head, building on top of you for no reason. We're talking multi-billion-dollar corporations. Why are you attaching yourself to a distributed ledger technology company? Because distributed ledger technology is the future. And they are cementing themselves and setting themselves up to operate when the next sector of the economy, which is blockchain technology, takes over. So that is seamless and it's smooth transitions. And any company that does not adapt to distributed ledger technology will be blockbuster. They won't be in existence. Because once that next sector takes off, if you don't have your foundation laid, you're going to miss the boat. And they're going to wish they had their digital infrastructure and foundation laid if they don't. Follow me on what's happening right now. And to know Quant Network and a lot of other distributed ledger technology companies. Put a little chapstick on. I'm talking a lot. My lips getting white, y'all. Distributed ledger technology companies and building out what they are building out is nothing to scoff at. It is nothing to sneeze your nose at, and it is nothing to overlook. Do not let somebody flooding you about Quant. Do not let slow price action in 2024 flood you out of Quant. Do not let a talking head on YouTube tell you that Quant isn't worth anything. Look at what Gilbert and the team are facilitating around the world. Go and watch any of my videos and watch it to beginning to end. And you get in the comments and tell me I didn't prove a point. I did not show you exactly how it's being facilitated and how Quant has their hands in it. And it's not just me saying it, 'cause I always make sure I bring resources via news articles or via out of their mouths themselves. You don't have people like Enzo Villani, a Fortune 500 CEO, talking about Quant and calling it something like a Cisco router and saying that this is a company that we invest in for no reason, you guys. Money follow money. Follow what I'm saying. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, go back and watch. I believe it's titled Fortune 500 CEO Investing in Quant or something like that. Listen out of his mouth what he said about Quant Network and how he feels how important it's going to be for the future. Follow what I'm saying, you guys. Follow what I am saying about these utility tokens. They are going to power the next sector of the economy. Think about it like this. You have Quant and a couple other, like Hbar and a couple others, that are now positioning themselves to start tokenizing stocks and bonds and securities. Okay? And this is going to be like a high level thought. Okay? So now think something happens with, because you know, Ethereum does not have clarity whether it is a security or not just yet. XRP does, the Bitcoin does, Ethereum does not. Now, what if it comes out that they do deem Ethereum a security? Quant overledger tokenizes securities. So essentially, they will be tokenizing. Follow what I'm saying. Follow what I'm saying, you guys. And I know that's a very high level thought. Think outside of the box. Because educate yourself. When you educate yourself, you expand your mind. As long as you closed off, your mind can never grow. Always be willing to listen. Always be willing to learn. Always be willing to take in. Now, whether or not after you listen, you agree or not, there's something totally different. But be willing, because when you're willing to listen, you expand your mind and you learn just a little bit more. You grow a little bit more, which makes you open to even more. Follow what I'm saying, you guys. Quant Network is a big deal. Anybody that don't see the value in Quant Network doing 2024, I feel sorry for them, because I promise you, you give it a few years, they gonna look back, at YouTube, they'll be like, man, I should have listened. Why I sell that Quant? Why I sell that Hbar? Why I sell all that XDC? Why I sell all that XRP? Why I sell all of that Chronos? Why I sell all of that B-Chain? Why I sell all of that, IOTA or whatever else has utility during that point in time. Sorry, my bird back there making some noise to make sure she was okay. Or whatever else, or whatever else has utility and bringing real world utility to the world. Okay? The bull run's gonna happen, I promise you. But if a utility bull run kicks off, everybody that's sitting right here in this live right now, they have some type of probably stake in something I'm talking about, whether it's Quant, Hbar, whoever, whatever, however, right? Y'all gonna see when utility in motion happens, because utility in motion is just that. It never stops and it never sleeps, and it runs 24/7, 365. And if you are a part of the network that built out the foundation for utility in motion to thrive, you have no other choice but to thrive and long-term survive as a company. That's why Hbar says they have a 100-year roadmap. What? Excuse me, you have a 100-year roadmap? Who has the foresight of 100 years? Who has the foresight of a decade? Well, some of us do, who's sitting around and saying, we go hold to this, hold to this. We have a little bit of foresight. You know what I'm saying? But think about what's being said. We have a 100-year roadmap. That's not being said for no reason. These companies are literally planning out, solidifying the plans, and then furthering the plans. Why like I said, Quant got the patents. Why? Because they want to ensure that nobody can come behind me and recreate what I created. It's not like Quant Network did something that nobody else can do in the world. No, anybody can build a blockchain operating system when they know how to do it and know the ins and outs and working of coding and blockchain. But where they were the knockout champs was, I built it, I own it now quietly, let me get it patented. They applied for that patent, I believe it was 6 years ago. It was just approved in December. They had 6 years of foresight, Think about what I'm saying about this company. They do not move rashly. They move methodically. Follow what I'm saying about Quant Network. They put that patent in the U.S. Patent Office 6 years ago and then had the patience and the wherewithal to just continue quietly working and building out my network while I'm waiting for these patents to go through the process of patenting and being approved. And then they started getting multiple patents approved simultaneously the same day. Follow what I'm saying. Quant Network is a major deal. Blockchain technology is the next sector of the economy. And Quant Network overledger is the standard for building on blockchain. They don't say it for no reason. It is being said because it is factual, because they have 57 countries sitting at the table with TC 307. Then they built the governance that they talked about within their communing for 8 years. Think about that. Think about how long that's been in play. Think about how long that's been in existence, where they have been working on the standard for building on blockchain for 8 years. Now, for everybody on this live, did you even know what blockchain was 8 years ago? Think about that. And for this company to have been working on the standard for building on blockchain for 8 years already today, that's foresight. That is literally someone with a vision and a plan and now executing that plan like clockwork because they had the patience to see the plan through. And that's the same thing when it comes to QNT in 2024. Have the patience to see your plan through because the network that you are being a part of by utilizing and holding QNT, literally, the people at the head of that network has had this plan in place for 8 years. And they have solidified partnerships around the world. The ink is signed, it's sealed, it's delivered, it's dried. That's why they can call themselves the standard, because they are the standard. And if you are an institutional player, you have no choice but to operate in and within the standard guidelines. That's why they're being patented. That's why that they're not a blockchain, they're a blockchain operating system that makes all blockchains talk to each other. Nothing like it exists in the world. Follow what I'm saying about Quant Network and the overledger and the foundation that is being laid and is literally being laid and being shown to the world on a silver platter. And if you're not focusing and if you're not taking in what people are actually saying to you directly, then you're going to miss an incredible opportunity about being a part of some of these very integral networks that are going to be holding together the next sector of the economy. I promise you on that, you guys. Like I said before, I think I'm gonna make this Sunday, talk, a real thing. I enjoy, making my videos and editing and all that stuff, but I also just like to come, and just talk to the people and just see what y'all thinking, read y'all comments. And I appreciate each and every one of the people that tuned into this live. I appreciate every like. I appreciate every comment that took place during this live. I thank y'all for watching my videos. I thank y'all for supporting the videos that you have watched and liked and commented on. I thank you for every subscriber that I have. I thank all of you. Really, I truly do. Because like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, you guys are exchanging the only true currency that we have, which is your time. And I promise you, It does not go unnoticed, and it does not go unappreciated that you are choosing to spend your currency with me. Because no matter how much money, like I said earlier in this live, how much crypto you have, how much property you own, once you go, when your time is up, there's nothing you can do about it, and there ain't nothing you can take with you, because all that didn't matter. The only thing that mattered, honestly and truly, was your time and how you chose to spend that time. And I thank y'all for choosing to spend that time with me. I promise you I do, for real, y'all. With that being said, thank y'all for tapping in. Thank y'all for tuning in. And until the next time, y'all already know. Peace out.